Central Schools. And certainly I want to thank everyone for attending this evening's community meeting. The purpose of our meeting tonight is singular in that we are really focused on facilities upgrades here at DeKalb Central Schools. Can you guys hear me in the back okay? Perfect. I need to stay anchored to this little blue speaker. That's for the people who are listening through the live stream. So if I tend to start wandering away from that, Nate, you'll have to get me back to the microphone. But again, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight as we really continue a process that has been going on for a number of years. And that's really taking a deep dive into our facilities here at DeKalb Central Schools, which involves 4 different elementary schools and a middle school and high school that share what we call the 612 campus. In addition to that, we also have a maintenance building, a bus garage, right off the county road, right next to this campus here. And we also have a building that is dedicated to our technology department, our staff wellness clinic, and also our grounds crew. So when looking at the district overall, the 612 campus houses nearly 2,000 students, well over 300 staff members, and in addition to that, our bus transportation system, which accounts for about 80 staff members, our maintenance department, our wellness clinic, and our technology staff. So really the vast majority of students and staff are all utilizing this campus at DeKalb Middle School and High School and beyond. So I'm going to have Mr. Bentley kill these lights. Hopefully you'll be able to see things a little bit better on the screen. So again, we're here I'm going to talk a little bit, hopefully a little bit, about the facilities and the plans for moving forward with addressing needed improvements here at DeKalb Central. Before we get started with that, I just want to send out some thank yous. Through this process over the last 2 to 3 years, we've talked to, and I say we because it's been a team effort every step of the way. We've had focus groups involving students, both middle school and high school. We've had focus groups involving parents. You may have been one of those parents involved maybe numerous times, or just those sidebar conversations that you have with staff talking about, among other things, facilities. And of course, we've had a lot of staff involvement because the people in our buildings are the ones that are utilizing the facilities that we have each and every day, whether it's in one of our 4 elementary schools or if it's on our 612 campus here. The staff is just instrumental in knowing what is going on in our buildings and where some of these needs need to be addressed. Our maintenance, I can't say enough about our maintenance and our custodial staff. Our maintenance staff director is Mr. David Spade. He's been phenomenal through this entire process. No one knows the buildings better than David, and his maintenance staff just do an outstanding job of keeping things running, keeping us in school on a day-to-day basis. Our custodial staffs certainly have an intimate knowledge of each of our buildings, so they're definitely a group of individuals that have been brought into the fold when it comes to what areas of the building we need to focus on or that we need to be aware of. I certainly appreciate the administration and the staff, our leadership team, both at the district level but also in the buildings, and the leadership teams within each of the buildings, including our athletic directors in the middle school and high school, our assistant principals, our dean of students, our counselors, everyone that makes up those leadership teams within each of the buildings have been involved in the conversations on what are the needed improvements that we have in our facility. I want to thank our school board. Without approval from the school board, things can't happen in any capacity, whether you're talking facilities or the hiring of people or a reopening plan during a pandemic. It takes the school board to come to agreement and to talk through things and have discussions and to come to consensus and agreement in moving our district forward. I want to thank all of you Not only do you represent, many of you, our community, but you also represent our parents who have been involved in this process as well. I've had a lot of conversations. I've had a lot of one-on-one sit-down meetings. I've had email communication, phone calls, text messages from various community members and parents across the entire district. And there is definitely a focus and momentum and a passion to improving our facilities here at DeKalb Central. And so certainly we want to try to address that in the most responsible way possible. I want to thank our technology team. Our IT director is here tonight, and he's running the live stream. So thank you, Nate Vance, outstanding, always. I told Nate we kind of needed this put together very, very quickly. It does take quite a bit of work to make this happen. We've not done a live stream from the middle school, but Nate was up for the challenge and got it done for us, so I appreciate that. I want to thank two outside entities that helped us with the facilities needs assessment. You may have heard me talk about that before. You've heard the district talk about the facility needs assessment. And so we had two outside entities, people who are experts in their fields. Barton Co-Vilma Architects came in and they did a deep dive in all of our facilities from an architectural standpoint. And then we had MCOR Construction Services come in and do a deep dive in their area of expertise as well with the HVAC and lighting and things of that nature. So just very grateful for those two entities to kind of put some expert opinion behind, where we're at with our facilities in our 6 school buildings, but also maintenance, central office, bus garage, and all of our other buildings as well. I want to reference, we have a number of people here that you might want to take an opportunity to connect with tonight. We have, I believe all of our school board members are here tonight, so just a quick wave, I'll point you out if you don't know who they are. Even if they're wearing a mask, hopefully you'll be able to flag them down. But we have our board members here tonight. If you want to speak with them, you can certainly reach out through email, but maybe after the meeting you have an opportunity to talk to one or two of them and share your thoughts and opinions. I think that's a good thing, and I'm very happy that they're here. We have Valerie Armstrong here up front, so thank you for being here, Valerie. Tim Haynes, I see Tim is here. I saw Jeff Johnson. Where's Jeff at? Hey, must be in the back row. All right. Jeff is here, thank you. Greg Lance is here. Greg is up there on the top deck. And Heather Krebs. Heather is here. Heather is our board president. And so certainly take the time if you are able to, need to, reach out to your board members. They represent all of you. And so emailing them, catching them after a meeting, they're all very open to having good discussion and conversations and gathering your feedback. So I appreciate that. I do want to draw attention just quickly. Steve Snyder, just give a wave, Steve. Steve's our CFO, our Chief Financial Officer for the district. And really without Steve's efforts and energy behind all of this, taking the facility needs assessment and then putting it into a master facilities plan, Steve was really instrumental in really organizing and helping to capture, putting the facility needs into a workable, usable, living document that hopefully will carry us as a district over the next 10 years. So certainly appreciate all the help there. And everyone else, our building level leaders, Mr. Wagner and Mr. Vince and the assistants, and Ms. Vaughn and Mrs. Pettis, our central office team. Overall, we just I appreciate greatly all the help that we have putting this together. So this is where it might be a little bit hard to see everything. And if you have questions, there will be a moment of time at the end, once I'm done talking, that if you have questions, you can certainly feel free to ask those questions. If you're listening online, I think we've got a way that you can submit questions relating to the facilities upgrade, that you can pose those questions online, and hopefully we can capture those and get those answered for you. And if we don't know the answer tonight, we'll certainly find the answer and make sure that we get that answer posted on our district website in the very near future. And if you're watching from home or if you're here tonight, but you know someone that wanted to be here, let them know that this presentation is recorded and it will be available on our district website from now or maybe as soon as tomorrow into the foreseeable future, so you can direct anyone that has an interest in DeKalb Central facilities planning and next steps. You can direct them to our district website, and I'll show you how to get there tonight just to make sure that we're all on the same page. So, when you came in tonight, there were a couple documents I want to make sure that you've had an opportunity to grab, or at least grab them on your way out. There is a feedback form. It's very general. It's basically any feedback you want to leave us in written format. We will collect all of these and gather them up and summarize them, and we will post then a document along with this video of all of our feedback and responses that, feedback that warrants a response, to put those on there as well, so that you can see all the feedback that was left. That form was up when you walked in. There is a DeKalb Central Schools prioritizing facility needs. And so this document may not make a whole lot of sense to you right now, but we utilized this rubric to weight how important we felt each need within the facility, how much it warranted, and based on several different things. For example, you would expect that if something is a safety or security concern, that it would warrant more attention by the district and therefore should be weighted heavier than other items that are not a safety or security issue. So it's not strange, or it's not hard to understand, I don't believe, to see that we weighted anything that was a safety or security issue at 40%, the highest percentage we could weight something. We then have a utilization metric that we used, an operational and maintenance efficiency metric, a meets the mission or promotes the patriot metrics, and then a community pride, or what I like to refer to as we are DeKalb metric. So when you see that form and you see those different themes, this was our prioritization. These were the factors that we used to prioritize the different needs within our facility needs assessment that was conducted by Barton Covilla and by MCOR Construction Services. So we'll go into more detail on some of these things as we go. I also provided shameless plugs here. Most of you probably received a couple of flyers in the mail about upcoming enrollment for next school years. So if you need one of those, take one of those. We also have kindergarten and preschool roundup coming up. Take one of those as well. And then we also have a portrait of a Barron graduate that the district worked on just up until COVID hit. And so as a community member or parent, you're going to start to see the portrait in and around our schools and our community more and more as we continue to plan moving forward. Providing that for you because one of our metrics was talking about does the facility need meet our district mission, and does it promote our portrait of a Barron graduate? So we try to incorporate things that we feel are really important into what we decide to do for our facilities. So assessing the district needs, and I will tell you, this is my 29th year at DeKalb Central. This is my 8th year at the central office. And over that course of time at central office, and even when I was a building level administrator or elementary principal at Watson or an assistant principal here at DeKalb Middle School, we always had an ongoing list documenting the different needs that we have within each facility. I won't tell you that it was organized in a very district-wide way or with a prioritization worksheet or metrics that we currently have and put in place now. But we were able to keep needs, but we didn't have a lot that went behind it on what we decided to take on and what we didn't. So this process over the last couple of years have really helped us to narrow our focus and attend to what's the biggest needs of the district are. And so those ongoing list of needs were assembled once again. In the summer of 2019, some of you might recall, we had what was called the listening tour. We went around to our different communities. We had 4 or 5 different tours or stops throughout the district. And we asked a lot of questions about facilities. We asked people to give us feedback about what do you think we should focus on? What facilities do you think are important? What do you think is needed for DeKalb Central. Those have been ongoing lists. There have been continuous and ongoing improvements through the use of operations fund. Even rainy day funds have had to been used. The most recent example of that was our high school boilers were replaced through the use of our rainy day funds. Some things get done through donations. And then of course we do tend to bond for larger projects. And so those are the ways in which things get done within a school corporation. And so I referenced the new boilers at the high school in the fall of 2019. We passed the bond for the new cafeteria at James R. Watson, which we just took control of or ownership of in January. And so that just completed. And now there's a renovation of the courtyard at JRW, which is ongoing right now and should be finished by the start of the school year this coming fall. So just providing some reference points for us. Facilities walkthroughs with maintenance and custodial staff is ongoing. As I referenced earlier, our maintenance staff and our custodians have an intimate knowledge of the buildings, and I would say along with our administrative staffs as well. When you live in a building year after year after year, you just tend to know the intimate details of that building. The district facility needs assessment was conducted, as I referenced earlier, in the fall of 2019 through the spring of 2020. The current list is located on the website, and I'll point that out. We then conducted last fall a 612 campus facilities tour. The needs assessment really indicated that the vast majority of immediate needs were right here on the 612 campus. May not surprise you when you hear that, but the majority of the needs in the needs assessment were located on the 612 campus. The two largest buildings, bus garage, maintenance building, I mean, a lot of structures here that need attention. That video recording is also located on the district website for anyone to go back and watch. It's 90 minutes plus. But it's very thorough. It takes you inside middle school and high school. It takes you outside the facilities. And to some people, I've heard some comments back to me just saying it was pretty eye-opening to be on the tour and to see some of the conditions of some of the facilities. Then, of course, the development of the district master facilities plan. That's ongoing. That's a living, breathing document. We think we have it in pretty good shape right now. But as things come up, we know we may have to make some adjustments to that. So, when thinking about the needs assessment, we're going to direct anyone and everyone to our district website. There are 3 items, and Nate, I don't know if you're able to go to the district website. Are you able to show that? Not on this screen?
Not from here.
Okay. So on the district website, if you go to About Us and about a little bit down the page, you'll see where it says District Facilities. There are 3 primary pieces of information located there right now. And it is a lot of information. It is a lot of information. So the first thing that you're going to see listed on the website, and again, you go to DeKalbCentral.net, the District Facility Needs Assessment. So the Facility Needs Assessment is printed out, is everything that I have here in this binder. So it's two-sided, it's every building, everything that I have in this binder is available to you to look at, to read through, to agree with, or to challenge. It's there for you. It was conducted by our 2 outside entities, along with feedback from people who have the most intimate knowledge of the district, of our buildings. From that then, we we had the district tour of the 612 campus. Again, the assessment came back very clear that the majority of needs were on the 612 campus. We offered a time to do an in-person tour. We recorded it. We've posted that on right with the same information. And then lastly, the District Master Facilities Plan is the most recent piece of information that we have developed from putting basically everything together into one workable, usable document to determine what we're going to look to take on as far as improving our facilities here at DeKalb Central. So I need a couple volunteers. I don't think these were up front. The facilities, District Master Facilities Plan is a multiple page document. I've got one page of it that I made copies for everybody, which I think is the page or the part that is of primary interest moving forward, because the District Master Facilities Plan is a plan addressing facility needs over the next 10 years. So when thinking about that, it's a rather lengthy document. Our two outside entities label things as being a high priority, a medium priority, and a low priority. We then took those items and we put our prioritization schedule on it. And you have that form, the utilization, does it meet the mission, does it promote the patriot, does it promote community pride? So the paper that you're getting right now is one page from the spreadsheet that is part of the District Master Facilities Plan. So we'll let those get out. So the one page that you have of the district facility plan, again, located on the website. It was created by using the facilities assessment. It was sorted between high, medium, and low priority. It was weighted based on the district-wide common metrics. I gave you a hard copy of that when you came in. Those 5 different themes: utilization, we are DeKalb, community pride, maintenance, efficiency, safety and security. And then off to the side, each one of those then had a rating, and that rating helped us decide what was most important and needed to be addressed and taken care of. And I want to stress very, very heavily that it's ever changing based on current conditions. We have a bad windstorm and part of a roof gets damaged, well, that's going to get pushed up to the front of the line to get addressed. The District Master Facilities Plan, as I mentioned before, is a 10-year plan. And on it, we address the most immediate needs. How many of you have looked at that online? Has anyone looked at that online? So maybe just not many. So it would be worth your time to take a look at that, because part of what we've posted online, and I think which is very good to know, one of the first pages we talk about is what's completed or recently in progress. And what's currently being worked on or just recently completed totals nearly $500,000 of improvements that are going on right now or have just been completed at DeKalb Central. You may not even know any of that has taken place. But depending on where your child attends or what building you see on a regular basis, some of you are aware that J.R. Watson is going through a courtyard renovation, and so that dollar amount would be figured into that amount. Operations is another. Whoops. Okay. I thought I just did it again, but no, okay, gotta say it again. All right, so part of the document will show you that, the question we get is, well, why don't you, use operations funds, use funds that have already been collected do we have the capability of using those tax dollars to bring about needed changes and updates and improvements? And the answer to that is yes, and we do, and it's constantly something that we're monitoring. And if you look at the master's facility plan on the district website, what we're looking at and proposing and currently planning for in the future equates to nearly $4 million of improvements that we're already using or kind of earmarking towards if we can use operations funds to be able to address those needs. So we get those questions a lot about, are you using operations? Are you using donations? What's the rainy day fund for? And those types of things. The form that you just received, the page from the master facilities plan that you just received, again, is just one portion of the entire 10-year document. And it's basically the next step that we as a district, that I as superintendent, want to bring forward for board consideration to move forward with some needed improvements, primarily on the 612 campus. And so that would be a future bonding issue of over $11 million of needed improvements as based on our facilities assessments and our master's facility plan when we sat down and evaluated everything that we feel like is needed. What we know as a district is that we know that we have debt that is expiring, and so we know we have an opportunity to either maintain or even allow to decrease the current debt service rate. And so I think those are two things as superintendent I'm extremely proud of. $11 million is a lot of money, and I understand that. It does take money to maintain and to improve upon the facilities. Facilities cost money. Facilities require investment. And so I'm very proud of the fact that we can take on these needed improvements without impacting in a negative way the debt service rate and possibly allow it to even drop. And so as a school district, I think we've been financially responsible in the past, and certainly we want to be that way moving forward. And so that list of items that you see on that spreadsheet are the ones that rose to the top, are the ones that rated the highest, whether it's based on factors of safety and security. Utilization is a huge piece to the 612 campus. DeKalb Central Schools has a middle school and high school that share one group of facilities for both schools. And if you go to a lot of other places, they might have a separate high school and a separate middle school, and they have a separate football field for the high school and a separate football field and track and field for the middle school. And that's great. That's just the way, whoever it was planned to be. Here we have combined facilities, outdoor facilities for middle school and high school. For efficiency's sake, that's great. For maintenance upkeep, that's great. But for making sure that we have enough space for our kids, making sure we have a practice schedule that works for marching band, that works for football, that works for track and field and tennis and everything that we have our sixth graders doing athletically, all the way up to what we're doing as seniors. And then also you must include what happens during the school day when our wellness classes and our physical education classes are also utilizing those same facilities. We share that tennis court, we share that track and field, we're sharing it after school, we're sharing it during the summer. So when we look at the totality of the needs that were identified, it didn't surprise me at all that the vast majority of them exist here in the 612 campus. We graduate our 54th class from DeKalb High School in June this year, 54th class of Barons. Very proud of that, very excited about that. Many of these facilities haven't been updated to a great extent over many of those years. And so it's just time. It's time to bring our facilities up to a level, not to create the Taj Mahal, but can we make them possibly on the same level as what other students in other districts are experiencing. So I think it's time to do that. And that's just my personal opinion. I hope that you agree with me. So we're excited about what you see in front of you. There are going to be some questions, that you might have, or why was this chosen over this? And when you think about the list that you see in front of you, that are potential 2021 bonding efforts that we're looking to bring for the board to move forward with, many things kind of rolled into, well, if you're going to touch this, then you need to touch this as well. Example, if you're going to, we know the track needs renovated. We were able to get it patched so that we can host track meets this year and next. The track needs redone. It's going to take some money to do that. But if we're going to touch the track, what are we going to do with the football field? And the goalposts? And other things that are connected to what you're already going to work on. So DeKalb, in our conference, DeKalb is one of 2 schools yet to have turf installed on their primary playing field for football and also marching band. Belmont and DeKalb were the last 2 schools. Huntington North just announced a $7+ million football complex where they're moving to turf. So we'll be one of 2 schools. And I feel bad especially for our marching band kids, who are wonderful, who are great. I think Director Lank is here tonight, and I marvel. I was never in band. I marvel at what those kids can do, not just band, but color guard and drumline, and just all those different programs. And having the opportunity to place turf on our field and allow them, one of their biggest fundraisers is when they host the Marching Band Invitational, and we don't get schools coming here anymore. Schools won't come to a school that has grass field. And so not only are we impacting, we're impacting kids in a lot of ways, we're impacting the opportunity to even fundraise because of our facilities. So we have an opportunity to really address this and do so in a very responsible way, and I really hope that you guys can get behind that and certainly ask any questions that you might have in relationship to the facilities, really any question at all. This would be the time where if you have questions, we'll certainly try to answer them. If I can't answer it, maybe one of the leadership team members could answer it. And then, of course, we have a feedback form. You can leave written response as well. So, Mr. Bentley, if you want to hit the lights, and if you want to raise your hand, I'll try to repeat the question so everyone can hear it, and especially those joining us on the live stream, and so that it gets recorded so that anyone that watches it later can hear. Are there any questions about anything? Just raise your hand. So I talked you to death. That's what happened here. Any questions at all? Any, Dr. Hill? Oh, yes, sir.
There's a technical one on the bleacher replacement for safety and capacity. Why are they all 0 on your Excel sheet? That's just wrong, or
That's wrong. Yeah. That needs fixed.
That is an error. We will get that fixed.
Good job, Brad.
Yeah. You work with numbers, don't you?
Hey, Steve, what are next steps to make this a reality? What happens next after this?
I think our plan would be to take to the April board meeting, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we would need permission to
post for a public hearing, which would happen at the May board meeting.
So we would ask permission to post for a public hearing. The hearing then would be scheduled for May. If that were to happen, I think it takes 2 months. There would be another hearing in June as well. And that would be for public comment.
It's basically months worth of different steps you have to go through to get to the point where you'd get all the way out to about November before you would sell bonds. So there's a lot of steps that have to happen.
It's a lengthy process, but we would look to want to be able to sell the bonds before the end of this calendar year, and then start the process for designing. We have to get updated estimates. We have to assume that the estimates that are there right now will need updated and fine-tuned because of the current environment, things are kind of crazy right now. Other questions?
How do you keep it under budget, or in budget, or under budget? How does that process work when it actually gets approved? How do you manage the contractor, and how does that work? If it goes over, or under?
I'm going to turn to the CFO, the numbers guy over here.
So, is this working? No.
Do you need to be down there so it picks you up?
Check. Here you go, Steve.
Okay,
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna go down there with Mr. Teeters. So, we actually went through something like this when we originally bid out the Watson courtyard. So, it's really kind of a perfect example of an architect who gave us a design, put his best estimate and guess on what that design would cost. But because it's an enclosed space, there were lots of factors involved that they didn't know enough about. So once those bids came in, at that point, you put those specs out, all the contractors take that information, they create a bid, they come to a blind bid opening, basically where we open all the bids. All those bids came in about not quite twice what we estimated. So at that point, we went to the board, and my recommendation to them, and they approved it, was to throw out all those bids. So at that point, all those bids got thrown out. The courtyard got tabled. So that project was actually supposed to happen prior to the cafeteria. Because of the way the bids came in, we threw them all out, did the cafeteria first, came back this time through with a different construction method where you involve the contractor in the process of making the design so that they can kind of value engineer it as they go. You get a better idea of what kind of bids you're going to get. And the bids this time came in, well, great. So that's where we're moving forward at this point. So to answer your question, there's a couple different construction methods you can choose to kind of help you value engineer the project. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions? Lori, I know you're monitoring online. I don't know if you see any online, Nate? Any questions from?
Nothing yet.
Okay. Well, hopefully you know how to get a hold of us. Again, we have all 5 board members here tonight. Steve's here, dollars and cents guy, chief financial officer for the district. You've got me. We have multiple administrators here, school personnel here. Any other information that you need, please reach out. You can email us, you can call, stop by. We want to certainly be approachable and try to address any question that you might have. And of course, the needs assessment, check that out online so you can really see the depth to which we took to get to a process where we really, I think, understand what our needs are here in the district. And I did see a hand raised in the back here.
It's just a quick question. I was wondering, when we come in the back way into the school parking lot, the first thing I see is the softball fields, and there are dugouts that are half falling down. I know it's not on the list of things in our budget necessarily, but does that fall under a more broad umbrella for repairs? And when does that actually get bumped up on priorities?
So I think, again, whatever we can address with operations money that we have on hand to address something immediately, if those dugouts are in danger of falling or injuring, we're going to do whatever we need to do to get them addressed. Overall, if you look at the master facilities plan on the internet, I shared with you the immediate bonding requests that we're going to bring forward. I think the very next tab, is where you're going to see additional needs that we've identified throughout the district. But again, we've tried to do things in a responsible, I know $11 million is a lot of money. And when I say, financially responsible way, that we can do these in a financially responsible way to not increase the debt service rate and actually to see possibly it decrease a little bit with that expiring debt come off. So I think if we can do that, we'll have enough to take on, if we're able to take on this 2021 bond to address those facility needs that you have. And then certainly our attention will turn towards what is that next level, and that's I think it's called the 2 to 4 year range, and that's what we would be looking at next. And again, it's a living, breathing document. Things will change based on the need. If something's falling apart or we notice something different about something, it's going to move up the list. And if, again, rainy day fund is there. If something needs addressed instantly, we have a rainy day fund that we're able to put in place and get some dollars approved by the board if necessary to address something. But I know exactly what you're talking about when you see the flashing and everything falling off the dugout site. I understand what you're talking about. Thank you for that.
Can I add on to what you
Add
just
on,
said?
yes.
So I had the same concern that you're expressing, when you drive in that back entrance, if softball doesn't happen to be in season. We were spread a little too thin on grounds out here. It's a big campus to try and take care of everything. We've kind of reshuffled the maintenance staff. The board just approved adding an additional member last month. So we're going to have someone devoted now to maintaining all those fields so that no matter when you drive by them, it looks like you could play on them today. So we want to make that kind of a renewed focus, along with, as you're kind of mentioning, if something needs painted or addressed to make it kind of function and look the way we want it to when someone drives on, that'll certainly play into that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Yes.
You mentioned that there was going to be an expiration of some bonds.
Yeah.
I know obviously it's in a tiered situation and so forth, but what are we looking at over the next 5 years or so, roughly?
I'm trying to think if there was an example of that graph in my budget presentation on the website. I meant to look for that today. So there's I'll say a modest fall in those bonds within the next year or two, and then it really takes a dive. So we have some pretty substantial bonds falling off, namely the McKinney one. So that would have been a very, very large bond we took out to redo that school. That one probably goes out maybe another 3-4 years and then kind of falls way off. I'll try to get my hands on that graph that shows that. It's a very good representation it shows that those different bonds and how they expire.
I would also envision us bringing some samples of what that might look like at the April work session and even board meeting to kind of get the board's input on exactly what we want to do moving forward and how that's going to look as far as maintaining that existing debt service rate, or do we have the opportunity to have it drop a little bit, which benefits every taxpayer.
Yeah,
we
can really design those bond payments however we want as a board and as administration. That's why we'll put together, as he said, we'll put together a couple of different options to look at on, do we want to pay it off quickly? Do we want to leave room for more bonds in a year or two? Do we want to avoid capitalized interest? All those things comes into that conversation of deciding how you want to pay back that bond. It's not like your typical car payment or house payment where you take it out for 10 years, you have the same payment every year. It's very different than that. You choose how much you pay each year, and then the repayment is based on that.
And what helps is having a master facilities plan that goes out 10 years where we have some predictability on the types of projects that we want to take on. So that piece really wasn't there for us in the past. So now that we have that, we can really use that as a predictor, and I think that will help us for our future planning on the type of bonding that we want to do, because if you get on the website, you look at the total list, there's a lot of things that have been identified. Not surprisingly, but there's a lot that needs to be done. Other questions? All right. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Encourage people to get online and check out the video once it's posted. Please take some time, leave some feedback, and really feedback on anything. Help us understand what's on your mind, and leave those here, or you can drop them off at central office. Email me directly. You can email board members. Their emails are on our website. Again, thank you for coming out tonight, and we're around if anyone wants to chat about anything. Thank you.